first time. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
I want to hear about the riding camels.
Yeah.
You're hot now. We ready? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. You can hear
Test.
You gotta get close.
Okay, there we go. Mr. Chairman, we'll let you start the meeting.
Okay, we'll call to order the Redevelopment Commission, Madison, Indiana. First order of business is the reading of the minutes. Everybody has been passed around to the board before, but there are no changes. Can I get a motion to approve as written?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, so moved. Next order of business, claims approvals. They've been circulated to the board before the meeting. They total $54,149.33. I think everyone's had a chance to review those. If there's no questions, can I get a motion to approve and pay?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Next order, Reedy Financial Monthly. Are we going to go through a review?
Yeah, we're going to go through our financial,
Okay.
just the financial report that he does monthly. If there's any questions, it's in your packet. Again,
Monthly financial update.
the monthly financial update. No, just the consolidated financial plan on page
You gonna see
7.
it? Okay, thanks.
Just the capital, just the 2024 review, where we are, where we think we're going to end of the year.
Well, it's great to see you all again. Hope everybody's doing well. If you guys have the financial plan opened up, I believe Tony has talked with you guys about this and how we've kind of changed it up a little bit. I wanted to just make life easier for you all and just give you guys a nice total picture of what all of your TIF areas are doing. Just to make it easier for you on these monthly meetings to look through this and get your total picture of what you guys have. So on pages 6, 7, and 8, you'll see at the top, these all say consolidated now. Just to, like I said, to give you that total picture of what everything's looking like. November is at 331,593 current. And then to end the year, we're looking at about 118,000, if I can see that right. And this is kind of how we're going to have this look from now on, just to make life easier for you all. And on page 8 especially, I want you guys to be looking at this as well, to just get that couple of years into the future look of all of the projects that we're talking about, discussing, and everything that's coming on over the next couple of years. We'll update 2028 on there as well as we find out more information. And then other than that, this is how this is going to look for you guys, just a lot more simpler to go through. And then you'll still have the debt overview on the last page as well. But
Just to clarify for you, it's 818, not 318 at the end of the year.
I think I said 818.
Well, okay.
Did I?
All right, just want to make sure.
Well, sorry about that. Yes, 818. But yes, this is how this will look for you guys from now on. But if there are no questions on that, that's your monthly update.
Yeah, again, the last couple months on the report, we've had each allocation area separated. It was getting pretty bulky because we have to report that, but we only have to report the revenue that way. The expenses were shown as a consolidated plan, which is what you had seen prior to about June, which, because we had been consolidating all the income, we are accounting for the income separate through the clerk's office as per DLGF, but I think it makes sense just to consolidate. Yes.
On this report, the 2025 revenues as they're split out, is that the bond issue? How is that split out, 1.9 per month? Or what is that coming in?
Are you looking at the monthly?
Yeah.
Yeah, so our projections, until actual comes in, the projections are just totaling up the revenues and dividing them by 12 throughout the months.
Okay.
And then as actual comes in, it
Got it.
updates and shows you actual data.
Yeah, and when we go through the spending plan for 2025, this is going to make a little bit more sense because it's
Okay.
going to be broken out by its funding source, which is going to be a combination of essentially grants and revenue in the various different TIF allocation areas.
Got it.
Right now, it looks, and also the bond issue that we're expecting to do in 2025. So you'll have lots of layers of different financing that's going to come into the redevelopment commission, and then they go out for the objectives in our spending plan.
Okay.
And I'll just mention too, is that between now and the end of the year, we're expecting our second tax draw. So that should happen within the next few weeks. According to our schedule here, there'll be a little over, probably around $1 million, I'd say, maybe more.
More.
So that's why we'll end of the year, we'll finish up our claims in the year of the 18 in there, and then start 2025 and go over the spending plan with you about how we're going to finance all the different proposed initiatives in 2025.
And we'll touch on that here later in the agenda. Thank you, Cole. Any other questions? If we could have one moment to talk about old business as we move into that. I'd like to show, if you have not seen, as you well know, the Dollar General Market, DG Market opened about 6 weeks ago to a great fanfare. It's been received extremely well by the community. We have a great manager in place as of about the last month, and she's working really hard to continue to improve the store and its offerings. The demand is outpacing sometimes supply, and they're working on getting that resolved. So that's all good news. But I wanted to share with you a quick video that we put out, our Madison on the Move videos you've seen before. I wanted to share that with you, that we posted online just this week on the DG Market and the impact to the community. And again, thank you for your support, since you were large investors in that.
Not only are we, building a great future for those who live here, who may live here, the kids that are being raised here, but every step along the way, I think you'll notice that we've also been honoring the past.
Dollar General is excited to be a partner downtown. We've actually been here for over 52 years. And now we're over here to a large project, being able to support the community with produce, meat, and a much, much larger grocery selection out there for you. We're excited to be part of it.
I've lived downtown since 1970. Well, it was a Kroger, and then it was the JC, and then it was Ruler.
There's a number of folks in the downtown area that don't have an easy way to get to the hilltop to the grocery stores. So they really relied on the ruler. When the ruler left, then that created a void and made their life more difficult. Rumors were all over the place. There was an awful lot of downtown Madison can't support a grocery store, and none of the grocery stores will come into Madison. That's where Tony and Bob came into the picture, because they knew who to negotiate with, they knew how to negotiate with them to fill the void.
When we found out that we were actually gonna get a grocery store downtown, it was just like wonderful. We all cheered and carried on, knowing that it was just so necessary for so many people.
I made a promise that we would make Madison more prosperous, safer, and elevate the quality of life. And improving the quality of life in any community, particularly a small town like Madison, has to provide all the community amenities that are needed. Having a market downtown for me was extremely important, because we wanted to make sure that our comprehensive plan was fulfilled, and we brought the amenities back to the people that live down here. And it was also a connection to all the other investments that we're making. Every investment that we make is multifaceted. It's not just a market. It's blight elimination, it's quality of life, it's introducing public art into the landscape, it's focusing on the roads, it's focusing on making people happy and bringing what they need.
The Destination Madison plan is designed to be a regional draw for Madison. As Madison's implemented its Destination Madison plan, we're being recognized for all the efforts that the mayor has had in his vision. This year being named Indiana's Community of the Year for 2024.
we took risk. This building sat vacant for several years after being a grocery store and seeing the decline. The decline of this store contributed to the decline of this entire area. We saw this as a major economic development investment that would lead to literally millions of additional investment, and it has.
DG Market fills the void that so many people in downtown Madison had. Universally, I hear, thank goodness the store is open. That's the simplest way to say that.
With the addition of the DG Market and bringing back a grocery store in downtown, Madison is on the move.
We are so lucky to live here in one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Betsy
job,
had it
yeah.
right.
Betsy
It's one
summed
of
it
the
up.
most beautiful communities in the world, and I want to thank the Redevelopment Commission. I don't know if you remember years ago when we talked about the strategy and the work that went into creating a plan that we could then execute and taking the risk along the way. We knew what we wanted for our community to meet the need as we were describing there, but also have a bigger impact in the neighborhood, which it is having. It's leading to more investment there. You know, there were a few chapters to the story of getting it here, and there's more to come, but thank you guys for trusting us to execute this plan, and this is just an example of, you know, the impact the Redevelopment Commission is having in fulfilling its purpose across the community. So thank you all.
Thank you. Tony, you want to keep moving with the agenda?
Yeah, we will. At this point, I would like to give you an update on the residences at Sunrise Crossing. We have been moving forward and working with the developer at Winterwood. And at this point, we are closing on the property here in the next 30 days. And I'll have Mike Hines, the president of Winterwood Development, give you a brief update. And then we'll talk through a motion that I need from you to help move this process forward.
Okay.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks, Tony. I appreciate the introduction. So I've been before you guys, I think, a couple of times, but it's been a little bit since I've been here. So just to kind of give you an update from my perspective from the last time we were here, I was here. We made application to the state of Indiana. We were successful in that application in a receipt and allocation of resources that would allow the project to move forward. We were fortunate in that while the most recent 2 or 3 years have been very tumultuous with interest rates and otherwise in the financial markets, the state of Indiana during that time has also created a state level resource that we are able to utilize here. In fact, Madison will be one of the pilots for that state program that was created last year with the legislature, I believe. It was created last year. So we are one of the pilots projects for that. One of the things that we had to do as part of working with the state in their underwriting and evaluation criteria, it really became apparent to us that we would need to break the project into 2 phases. And so the representation that you see up on the screen here does represent the site being broken into 2 phases. We are very close, prepared to break ground on phase 1. However, breaking it into 2 phases, even with the resources that we've received, does necessitate some changes that we've been working with the administration on to try to help us balance sources and uses for the development as a whole. We've had some design input as well on how our structures and buildings are going to look. So all of those things in balance have necessitated some changes that I think Tony or the mayor may be speaking to you about. But big picture, within a few weeks, we hope to be under construction, beginning commencing our work. So thanks, everyone. Any questions?
I'll just add, first, thank you for being here. Thank you for the investment that you're making in Madison. And you mentioned it's been a while since you've been here because we started talking about this probably 4 years ago.
Roughly.
These deals are really hard to put together. Honestly, when you're making when you're trying to bring housing to a market that hasn't seen any new housing in 35 years, it's hard. And the irony of part of this development, I'll just give you a little bit of background, is that when you went to IHCDA for the bonds, they ran out of volume cap that year. Was that 2020?
I believe that was 22, yes, sir.
20, they ran out of state bond volume cap, which is how much in tax exempt bonds they can issue in order to support housing development statewide. That was probably the first time that had ever happened. So there is a tremendous pent-up demand for housing all across the state and in Madison. And so what did we do? We kept working. We kept working on the design, the elevations. Mike and his team were very easy to work with to take our suggestions on the design of the buildings. They kept working through the plan commission process, site design. We had to do the other side of it too, which the west side is the retail side. So all this had to be conceived at the same time, which has been pretty easy, right, Tony?
Yeah, very simple, very simple. Right,
Make
Mike?
it look easy.
Easy
But
peasy.
Easy.
here we are now, right, heading into December of 2024, getting ready to break ground on Madison's first housing development, multifamily housing development in about 35 years. So, thank you.
Well, Mayor, if I could
Yeah.
thank you as
Yeah.
well. We already have employees here, operations here today. We work here. We are not invested in Madison yet. We are very soon to be invested in Madison. We are very excited about that investment and really looking forward to it. And we really believe in the future of Madison. And congratulations to everyone on the award with the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. It's quite an accomplishment, and I really did enjoy the article. So, yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mike.
thanks, Mike. Yeah, so as you can see on the screen, I want to state the collaborative attitude has been there with Winterwood, working with your architects to add a more modern aesthetic to what you may have seen before. But today, the drawings you see in front of you have a much more modern aesthetic to the buildings and the facades. So we're appreciative of that. If you go to the slide before that, Emily, you will see maybe a little hard to read, but that's really phase one. There'll be 4 buildings, about 96 units in phase one, 96 units in phase one, as well as their office and necessary infrastructure, stormwater, and roadway development to get them to their apartments units. As a part of that, there had become a gap in the funding mechanisms for that. We have been working, the mayor and myself have been working with Winterwood to work through that and are suggesting to you that we split the sale of the purchase of property into 2 parcels. If you can go back, Emily. Parcel 1 would be 4.167 acres, which is that centerpiece. And then lot 2 or parcel 2 would be 3.483. And as a part of that, split the agreed upon purchase price of $950,000 into two separate purchases. The city will still control lot 2 until such time Winterwood would take that down and build phase 2. The hope is, and Mike would agree, we think the demand's going to be very strong. Our current housing study shows that we can absorb 60 to 80 units easily a year for workforce housing, which this is, and a high demand for that. So I think the timing of this is great. This will be the first test of that, and we think we'll be in good shape, and Mike will be within months having a wait list, and we'll be rolling right into phase 2. So we're excited about that. We would also ask that the RDC waive, which was in the original EDA, the pro rata share of the cost of the retention basin. As you know, that basin was built as a part of the overall complex. Their pro rata share was roughly $125,000, and we have already paid that through previous bills as a part of the construction and the bond. So we would ask that the commission give the mayor authority today to renegotiate the EDA and execute that in 2 areas. 1, removing the reimbursement of the pro rata share of the cost of the retention basin, and 2, to allow the property purchase to be split into 2 parcels to allow for this project. So there's a no cost necessarily gap to the
Yeah, I
change.
want to just add a little bit here, which is there was a lot of engineering and as we talked about being multifaceted, goals with the detention basin. It was not only to, capture stormwater runoff for the site for this development on this 20 acres. we were really trying to harness stormwater from about 80 acres of commercial development that's happened over the last half century on Clifty Drive, with our goal of mitigating flash flooding risk downtown in the North Walnut Street corridor that's been the subject of severe flash flooding for about 150 years, but most recently 2 times in the last probably 7 or 8 years. So we think that detention basin is serving, a big purpose for the entire city of Madison. The cost has already been expended, and as part of our renegotiation with Winterwood, we think it's a fair compromise to leave our funding in that deal and focus on the sale of the 2 parcels in order to keep the deal moving forward and get this first phase of housing units delivered to the community. So we appreciate your consideration on it.
Any questions? Tony, the mayor, Mike? No, so the motion's in front of us. Can we get a motion to approve the renegotiation of Residence Inn at Sunrise Crossing? Second? All in favor? Aye. So moved.
Thank you, Commission, for that support. In new business, if you want me to continue to move forward,
Please, yes.
In front of you is the professional service agreement for Welch Park. Mike, you're more than welcome. Yeah,
Welcome to
stay or,
right,
okay,
awesome.
all right,
We
great.
have a lot of great things to talk about too, by the way.
Yeah, some new stuff that you may not know about. So, Welch Park, as you know, has been a priority of the administration. It was a part of our Parks Master Plan completed 4 years ago, I think, 2019, 2020, right before COVID. This park is an important park on our riverfront. It's our largest downtown park. We currently are also trying to help and work through and implement some solutions to parking. As you are aware, I think the Fairfield Inn and Suites is having great success, and they've expanded already with investing nearly $1 million in the Picker House as well as the front office building into more meeting space. And that is precipitating some additional parking needs. And so we would be working with them to develop some additional parking as originally master planned many years ago with that development on the far west side of the park. The Parks Department has worked with us to develop a program that consists of pickleball courts, some shelter houses, much needed public restrooms on that end of the riverfront for the public, some other amenities, ping pong table and cornhole and some other things that aren't anywhere else in town, as well as a playground that will help take some pressure off of the playground at the foot of West Street and allow for 0 to 5-year-olds some additional kind of play. And there's a number of pictures of this in your packet. We have some too, as well as then work towards, if you can go back real quick, work towards the west side of the bridge to create more of a teen area with soccer practice field, sand volleyball courts, and basketball. It was much desired by the Parks Department and their board commission to offer opportunities for teenagers, and those were the opportunities for us. This also will include public art, a large mural under the bridge representing Harlan Hubbard's work. If you're aware, the bridge walkway and approach is named after him. And so, as you well know, we have a benefactor willing to donate dollars to have that mural created. The funding for this project will come from a number of sources. We have already received roughly $600,000 of commitment either through grants or private dollars. We have another grant outstanding that we hope to hear from in the next couple months, as well as it has been in our previous plans to support this park through the Redevelopment Commission at the level of $750,000, and we're continuing to propose that at this time for this park. And if you want to go to the pictures of the playground, you can see that this will be one of our first certified playscapes, a national certification in Madison for playgrounds. And I'm happy to to note that we have a anonymous donor here in our community that's given $150,000 towards the purchase of the playground equipment. Doesn't cover the whole expense, but covers a majority of that. So this will be a great public-private partnership, a great leveraging of private dollars as well as public dollars, and to honor our former mayor and to reimagine our largest downtown park on the Ohio River.
I might just add that City of Madison's Parks Department, we have a tremendous park inventory, over 24 parks in lots of different ages and conditions. Unfortunately, many of our parks are in need of major upgrades. This is one of them, but our focus is over the last few years with our placemaking investments has been on the riverfront. This is one of the last major investments we'll be making on the riverfront. Our master planning from there will go to our major park assets on the hilltop. But City of Madison is committed to health and wellness, and we do a lot of that investment through our Parks Department for outdoor recreation for all generations and all abilities, from one generation to the next, is really what they're focusing on, which I think is a great vision, and bringing something to the East End that really does create amenity for kind of that teenager group in many instances, or older, those that are really embracing the pickleball sport. This park will do that. Many of our parks, in particular playgrounds, are geared toward the younger children. And as Tony mentioned, this is intended to be a companion to the Hargan Matthews Park right there at the foot of West Street. So I think this will be a great addition to the riverfront with our overlook, our pool, the things that are happening down at the amphitheater, the new Legacy Park that's there. But it's a major investment to the riverfront, which is kind of the crown jewel of Madison.
And as Bob mentioned, what's really nice about this, it's multi-generational, from pickleball to infants to teenagers. So we're real proud with the collaboration with the Parks Department on this.
Tony was one of the first to go down the new slide at Crystal Beach, and he said he is certainly going to be one of the first to go down the slide here at Wells Park.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I want the butterfly teeter-totters. So I'd ask for the approval of the contract to get the engineering underway. We will hope to go to bid for that project and secure the final funding in Q1 of 2025, with construction beginning next summer.
So first, the motion is to approve
Approve.
the 750,000
The
Or
motion
the-
is to approve the
JTL contract.
the JTL contract.
CTL contract.
A second.
All in favor? Aye. So I just want to say great job to you and the leadership for investing in places for our teenagers to hang out and do stuff. It's something that's lacking in our community, so to have this as a future plan is fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Renderings look great. John asked that you name one of the pickleball courts after him, because he's gonna serve up defeat down there for anybody.
Well, I can't wait. We'll just have a
Oh, I've
little
heard he's a monster on the
Yeah.
football court.
crushing it, aren't you?
Yeah.
The second item under new business is a no-cost contract modification for JTL for the Madison Hanover Connector Trail. The scope had changed in that contract due to reducing some costs. We are no longer looking at a bridge over the creek, but we had to modify our approach. As a part of that, the state wants the money that was allocated to that to be reallocated to a line item so that they can properly account for it and we can properly pay for it. So I'm asking you just basically to change the scope of that contract from the bridge crossing to the Stone Arch crossing.
Can we get a motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, so moved.
And I'll give you a brief update on that project. We're really excited about where this is coming together, and Chip, thank you for being here with Hanover College today. Phase 1, tomorrow is our pre-bid meeting with the contractors for Phase 1, and you'll see that this is a view looking towards the west coming out of downtown. We are also working on connecting the sidewalk and connectivity from the west end to the trail as a part of another project, as a part of our Main Street project that'll be starting here in late 2025. It'll do a number of things. It'll narrow the traffic lanes to help slow people down from that bend into the west end of downtown, as well as provide a great connectivity from Main Street to the trail system that we're building here in Madison. I think there might be another slide, Emily. Yeah. So again, that trail system will start at 2nd Street there on the top on the far left. We'll go up the railroad tracks, up over the stone arch, and then follow the path to the west through the trees that if you're walked that before, there's a gas line and some other roadway, a little gravel roadway there that will follow that all the way out then to the entrance at Clifty Falls State Park, which we're really excited about. The state of Indiana is excited about that and are working to create a connector trail from the south entrance up into an area by their Clifty Falls State Park Inn. There's an old actual roadway at one point that went up more to the west than the road today, and so they're working to make that connection to the State Park Inn once we get there. And then phase 2, which we're going to be working with Hanover College and developing phase 2, which is a $10 million project from the Clifty Falls State Park entrance to the entrance at Hanover College. And we're really excited. That project you'll know more about here in the next coming months, because we'll start ramping that design up and collaborating with Hanover College and the Parks Department in that regard. So look forward to that.
I'll just add that phase 1 began as a ready project with Hanover College, and as the city of Madison was implementing its ready projects, we had some money left over from one of our projects, and we reached out to three local nonprofits, and we brought that plan to the Redevelopment Commission, and allowed us to partner and engage with Hanover College as one of those nonprofits in working on this trail. The work that Tony and his staff is doing in collaboration with the town of Hanover and Hanover College particularly, and bringing the design expertise to this project has been phenomenal. But it goes beyond that. What I'm most excited about not only is the trail, but the connection of how the intersection of the Main Street Corridor project is now having with the connector trail, which will then also take us to Clifty Inn and then eventually out to Hanover College. And so there will be a time, Kerry, when you're out there doing your 10 miles, I see you running all the time, that you can just say, hey, I'm running out to the college and back. Julie might have to pick you up when you get to the top of Hanover Hill, but eventually you'll be able to do that, because we're connecting all of these parts of our community to the broader community. And I think this will be really exciting. One day I'll be either running or jumping on my bike and riding up and around Hanover College and back down to the house, over across the hilltop. So much work has gone into this. It's been years in the making. But the pre-bid meetings?
Pre-bid tomorrow, yeah.
Pre-bid meeting is tomorrow. But this is the last of our first set of ready projects, and it's a critical project for the city and for Hanover, but also for the Southern Indiana Redevelopment Authority. It's a critical one for them too. And then it will play into also the Vet Tech school that's being built with a combination of sources, including ready dollars at Hanover College.
And if I can add on to that, because Bob brought up a very good point. The RDA, as a part of their planning, our Regional Development Authority, has done a region bike connectivity plan. And it is in their plan and the hope that this trail could ultimately connect Clifty Falls State Park and Charleston State Park, and ultimately go to Corydon's State Park. So we have the ability fairly easily, once we get to Hanover College, to get to the end of our county. There's a roadway that this county is willing to, it's closed currently, and it can be turned fairly easily from the bottom of Hanover Hill almost to, I think it's called, not Soggy Bottom, but anyway, there's a road that's been closed because of its deterioration, but it's safe enough and wide enough with a little bit of work can be, again, a continuation of this trail all the way to the county's edge fairly quickly. So we're really excited about that, and it plays well within the Regional Development Authority, and it prompted the RDA to think about the ability to connect the state parks throughout our county, or throughout our region. So
Very cool.
we're really excited about that too, so.
Can you just go back to that picture? I'm terrible with these renderings. Tony, I know you did this.
That one here?
Yeah,
Yes.
What is it? Show me, how does this
So-
connect and what's happening here?
Yeah, so you are, I'll get up here, it'll be easier.
Orient yourself to where the entrance into the Elks is.
Okay, yep.
You're in your car looking west by
Mhm.
the Elks, that bend. This is the bridge going across,
Clifty Creek,
Creek. So this will
or
be.
Crooked Creek, excuse me, Crooked Creek.
Big Clifty's in here.
Yeah.
You'll come out of the woods there, there's currently, some gates. There'll be, we hope, a new parking lot right here, new trailhead. And then the sidewalks will continue, we stop currently on West Main on the north side about, Madison Iron Works old site, roughly there. And those sidewalks will continue across the bridge and connect into the parking lot and trail at the far west side.
And the trail's behind that retaining wall?
The trail will go up over the retaining wall and back down,
Okay,
to Clifton, which will be right back down.
got it. Thank you.
There are a number of issues with the West End as a part of a number of Main Street improvements. We've applied for additional safety grants to help with speeding and traffic calming on the West End. Currently, as you come around that bend, it's really wide, very wide, but people just feel like they can.
Speed in or speed out?
Yeah, speed in and speed out. We'll narrow the lanes, we'll do some other things to help people visually want to slow themselves down. So we hope to make some safety improvements there as well with the Elks entrance and the way those roadways work so that the West End residents feel safer and feel like they have some ability to control the speed. There's been a lot of wrecks at this area up in here before we get out of town, but helps to resolve some.
Thank you.
It's again, multifaceted, connects the Main Street, makes the whole West End safer, calmer.
And we're gonna leverage.
Redesigns the road, for the type of travel that we want versus the type of travel that the road was designed for half a century ago.
And with it being a city road, we have much more leeway on what we can do. Remember, this was a state highway at one point, requiring much larger shoulders than we have to have as a part of a state road, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the trail project? Just give you a quick update, okay. Cole, you wanna go into our TIF impact presentation? I believe, you have that. This, I'll remind you, is an annual report that has to be given to the Redevelopment Commission and is provided to all taxing units of government within Jefferson County.
That is correct. Well, to go through this with you guys, on the first page there, you'll see a list of all of the year's reporting requirements that we have knocked out so far. And of course, today, we'll be knocking out that last one, as well as your new one, the ensuing year spending plan. So we will get those checked off today. Moving on to page 2. I think you guys are familiar with these. I don't think I need to go through those. Sounds good. Page 3 is just going to be a look into all of your guys' current areas that you have and their 24 incremental assessed values that you'll see. And then another thing to keep an eye on, of course, is their expiration years. Total across all areas, you guys had 76.4 million roughly in incremental AV this year. Moving on to the next page. I can go through this one if you guys would like, but if you
Yeah,
guys
don't
are good
need
with
it
all this,
unless-
that's all good with me.
You guys want to go through that?
I don't think we need it, no.
It's all good.
Anybody here?
And then just take a look at your financial position for all of the allocation area funds. As Tony had mentioned, we're still going to be keeping these like this behind the scenes and working on them like that. Just, of course, showing you guys the new consolidated plan to make things easier. But this will just show you each individual fund, what they project to end the year at, and what revenues and expenditures they're projected to have. So if you guys have any questions on that, I can answer those.
I just want to reiterate the fact that the North Madison allocation area, which is the original one, that expiration year is 2035. So that has been a conversation we've been having now for about 4 years of what do we do about that. And the plan we have, which you'll see, is to issue a series of a bond for 2025 that's going to capture, that revenue stream for nearly the next 10 years and capitalize it up front so we can do our projects with it. But it's certainly not going to eliminate, any incremental revenue from the next 10 years. Each year, we'll still have plenty of cash flow to work with here at the Redevelopment Commission. We will be repaying the debt service on that loan, but we'll also be creating more value along the way.
Absolutely. And then going on to the next page, to take a look at your guys' current projects as well as future projects. This will be really important to look at. I know you guys know there's a lot going on and a lot of great projects happening and in the works. So this is just great to keep in mind as we go through the actual TIF impact itself. And to kind of go through this with you guys, in order to really help quantify the TIF's impact, you have to ask yourself, would everything that has happened, all the projects and things that the Redevelopment Commission has done, what would property taxes collected today be if all those projects had happened with there being no TIF or Redevelopment Commission? So keep that in mind. And the next page at the TIF impact chart, you guys can take a look there at the circuit breaker impacts, the rate driven funds impacts, and take a look at those numbers. As you can see, them being very small percentage of impact as a percent of the budget on the far right column there. The numbers at the bottom highlighted in the dark blue, once you guys take a look at those, your total revenues without the TIF being here would be 1.3. The 24 total TIF revenue collections that you will be collecting is going to be about 2.2 this year. Then that 946,000 number there at the bottom, that is going to be the total additional revenue because of TIF and RDC and how much you brought in to use on all of the projects that you guys have going on since you have the RDC as well as the TIFs. Had there not been any TIFs or RDC, it would have just been 1.3 versus 2.2 to use on projects. And then onto the next page where it really show that TIF margin and explain it, that 42-cent TIF margin. This is stated in terms of additional money collected per every dollar. And like I mentioned, the 2.2 is how much you guys are collecting. 946 of that is being collected due to having the TIF. And that 1.3 number is all that there would have been across overlapping units had there been no TIF. So there's this long-term benefit that we want to show you guys and show the overlapping units that there will be more revenue having the TIF versus not having one. And it just goes to show the additional revenue and the opportunities that TIF brings to help accomplish all of these great projects that you guys have going on. I know you guys know that TIF is a great tool for redevelopment. This is just reinstating that and just showing how much helpful it is to have a TIF when you're doing redevelopment projects. This is all possible simply because TIF is not constrained by the state's property tax levy growth percentage, which is 4%. And that is how it is able to collect this additional revenue. Do you guys have any questions on the TIF margin or any of the numbers that you see there?
Explain that last comment, Cole, about TIF not being constrained by the property tax levy growth. I mean, the revenue that comes into the allocation area is through property taxes on commercial and industrial property, right? It's basically 3% classified property. And then, I mean, so there are still property tax caps, but, so explain just the concept that it's not subject to, so when we do fund our operations at the city level, the Department of Local Government Finance tells us how much additional property tax we can levy, subject to the property tax cap. So I'm just trying to wrap my head a little bit around that it's not being constrained because there still is a property tax cap for each of those three classes of properties. the TIF revenues don't come in to support our operational expenses at the city level, so maybe that's kind of the nexus. So just, am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, just, so your overlapping units, like I said, had there been no TIF, they can only collect on the 4% levy. And the TIF, I'm trying to think here.
I mean, we're not trapping 100% of the real estate taxes on a parcel that's in the TIF, are we? Because TIF is based on the increment after you establish the base. So isn't there a tax revenue on the base that is being distributed to the overlapping districts?
Yes, the
And then
base.
the increment is coming to the redevelopment
Once
commission?
that base is set, that
Yeah.
always goes to overlapping
Okay,
units.
okay.
And of course, TIF receives all that
Right.
increment.
And then eventually, when that allocation area expires, like the 2035, all of that growth in revenue that we've created through our investments through the redevelopment commission will then start going back out to all the overlapping districts.
It's that,
So
there's
we have
that,
a window.
that long-term benefit.
We have a window, right, of increasing value, and focusing on all of our objectives through the redevelopment commission, generating more revenue that comes to us so we can reinvest it, and then eventually, when that allocation area expires, like in 2035 with the North Madison allocation area, we'll stop receiving that, which is a problem. We got to figure out a solution to that, because that's going to take out $2 million of revenue a year that we're relying on to work with. That will start being distributed out to all the overlapping districts, right?
Yep.
And how many are there? Are there 6 or 7?
6 or 7, yeah, right
Yeah.
about there.
That's the school, it's the library, it's, I think there's 6 overlapping taxing districts that comprise our tax rate.
So yeah, there's just that long-term benefit for the overlapping units of receiving revenues that would have been foregone
Yeah.
had there have been no TIF.
Any questions?
No.
All right,
Good report.
Nice job, thank you.
we just need to present it. There's no need for a motion, so we're good on that.
Have we done a tax impact statement before? I mean, is there one on file with the LGF? I'm just curious.
Every year.
Well, I'm just curious, like, let's just say, our TIF has been around for 30 years. You were here when it was created, right?
Right.
Back in the 90s. He was here in the 90s when it was created. I wonder how much this TIF margin has grown with our investments in the last, 5 years, for example, versus 10 years ago. Just curious.
I think you can go, Cole, and maybe give us a sense of that increment,
The trajectory.
that trajectory of where that's come for the last 5 years. It would be interesting to see, I think. Would be interesting, so, okay, thank you.
Good report. Thank you.
The next report that Cole and I will tag team here is a new state process in 2023. The state legislature, again, I provided you with that information, is requiring us now for each redevelopment commission to provide the redevelopment spending plan for each year, and that has to be done by December 1st of the previous year for the following year. Barnes and Thornburg has interpreted the law and developed a process for us. So Tom Pittman, our legal counsel, has provided us with a resolution as well as the categories for which the spending plan needs to comply with the state statute. They're fairly broad categories. As we know, redevelopment commissions need to be able to react to economic development opportunities as well as potentially changing priorities within the community throughout the year. So we have kept those in broad categories. If you can there, pull up the capital plan. We did prepare, as we have, and we've been talking for the last several months on a project list for 2025 and 2026 and 2027. I prepared a draft of that. Again, these projects aren't final, but they give us an understanding of what we may have in the pipeline as we apply for grants and other interests, and we have other economic development opportunities. The one interesting thing that you will see on page 8 of your financial summaries is that the state is requiring us to list grants and other TIF revenue that we may receive as a part of this plan. In the past, we haven't necessarily had to do that. We've accepted dollars within the TIF from our grant sources and other things. This time, we're having to acknowledge that as a part of the DLGF's report. Not all these grants have come to fruition, but we know that some of them will. So you'll note that the grants include the Hanover Connector Trail Grant through the Department of Natural Resources, the Hanover Connector Trail Grant, Phase 2, which will be a subrecipient agreement with Hanover College. Our Ready 2.0 ask we've included because we understand within the next 30 to 60 days those should be announced. And then private grants and donations, much like the Welch Park, much like other grants that we may have received, like we did with Crystal Beach, with the Bethany Foundation, and those sorts of things. We received a playground grant as a part of the Welch Park project already, so that's being acknowledged as a part of those dollars, as well as any of our private dollars that would come from economic development agreements on projects that we're expecting and other donations and leverage through that. So,
Can I pause you
yes,
for a second? Are you referring to a document that was?
page 8 of the financial summary.
Oh, we're back to the- okay.
Page 8 of the financial summary. So as a part of that, you will see those numbers calculate to Exhibit A of the resolution, which shows that in 2025, and Cole, correct me if I'm wrong, our debt payments will total, again, not to exceed, these are not to exceed numbers, so we may not get to those numbers, but we want to give ourselves some room. But you will see in your packet on page 2 of the resolution. On page 2 of the resolution, you've got that. You will see that the debt payments will not exceed $1.6,758,000. Our capital expenditures next year, we are anticipating $8,350,150,150. $350,150. Professional expenses for engineers, accountants, and legal fees not to exceed $172,500. Financial proceeds not to exceed $4,335,358. And then the expenditures from state and federal grants, $3,565,000, with other miscellaneous anticipated expenses of $57,500, for a total spending not to exceed $18,081,266 in 2026.
Having trouble reconciling this. What's up there is 21 million. What I have in my package is 18 million. What I see in the TIF is 11.8 million.
He'll explain,
Okay.
What
All right.
this Exhibit A on the spending plan is doing is taking the 2025 projected expenditures totaled into those more broad categories on the Exhibit A, then adding in a 15% buffer to them as a truly just in case. Since there's been such minimal guidance on this new requirement so far, we just wanted to put in a buffer just to make sure that if something comes up during the year, things end up being more expensive than we project. We kind of have that buffer in there just in case. So that way we don't have to worry about coming back and approving an amended spending plan and submitting the amended spending plan to the DLGF. We just have a buffer built into there just in case things come up.
yes, these are not to exceed. The document you have in front of you is the actual document. The one on the screen is not correct. 081 in your packet is correct. Sorry for that. There was a couple documents going back and forth, so. So again, this is like our municipal tax rate. When we publish our tax rate, they're not to exceed amounts, and ultimately they come in less. That is to protect us from having to go through the process throughout the year and modify that 1, 2, or 3 times as we start to spend money. And as you know, projects take fits and starts again too, and you'll see that as a part of that. We'll bid a project, we'll start a project, construction will begin. So we want to give ourselves the buffer in each year to be able to have the money necessary to pay for those contracts as they move through the system. And as you look through, as we look at the draft documents and we've looked at the plan, those are allocated in very distinct buckets on our capital outlays. Destination Madison plan, our quality of life projects, housing support, which is the largest component of the next 3-year plan, infrastructure are the other buckets. And as those projects start to come in, again, we're anticipating, we're in a draft format because we don't know if some of the grant dollars will arrive or not. That'll make us sit back and have to reevaluate our priorities, and we'll be coming back to you for specifics on each plan, each project, as those plans become more specific.
You guys have any questions on the spending plan? I know this is kind of our first go-around at this, and if things change in future years, we'll of course update things as needed and update you guys.
I would just add that I appreciated the exercise of this because we've been doing a monthly financial projection and talking about lots of different projects over the time. We've been talking about how we fund it, how we raise the capital, how we stack it with other sources. This helped us kind of bring it all together, but put it in a better, I think, a more articulate categorization, so you can understand, where our housing priorities lie and what our placemaking and infrastructure investments are going to be. We're going to be focusing on placemaking, infrastructure, quality of life, and housing investments for the next 3 years. Those are going to be our priorities. We've been talking about those for years. We're distilling them down into individual plans. Anyway, I like the way this is formatted, and it will be kind of continuing to evolve. We may apply for grants that we had proposed to do a project with and not get the grant. We're always going to, I think, have to be focusing on our priorities, but shifting the way capital stacking requires us to do to get something done. We may have to postpone something. Something may be moved forward. It really just depends. But a lot of this falls in with the city-wide enterprise level initiatives on these main priorities. But still a tremendous amount of work goes into, the capital plan for something that might be as simple as a park or, a market or something like that.
Runway,
Runway improvements. I mean, millions of dollars are being raised for the runway improvements at the airport.
So again, the motion would be to approve the TIF spending plan per the Department of Local Government and Finance requirements, and the resolution is,
2024 2R.
there you go, 2024 2R.
So there being no other questions, can I get a motion to approve Resolution 2024 2R?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, so moved.
But I
Thank
think that
you.
is all for your guys' reporting requirements for the year as well, now that both of those are knocked out. And just to reiterate on your guys' TIF's impact, or TIF opportunity, as we like to call it, for all the great projects you guys have going on and the additional money that TIF can bring in since it's not constrained. Like, since those overlapping units, their levy can only grow by 4% each year. TIF can capture on however much that grows due to the projects that the TIFs are part of.
Perfect.
But thank you guys.
Thank
If
you.
I don't see you, have
Nice
a
job
good
putting this
Thanksgiving
together.
and Christmas.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Before I think that's the last order of business, except for mayor's update and comments. I would remind you all that tonight at 5 o'clock, there's a donor reception with the artists of River's Edge at the Madison Area Arts Alliance Gallery, The Spot. So you're all invited to attend that as well. And tomorrow at 5:30, the ribbon cutting and the lighting of River's Edge at the Madison Milton Bridge Gateway Park will be held. Rain or shine, warmth or cold. We've done this before. We've done this before at the about a year ago when we had the final store and the ribbon cutting for the shopping center. We are fortunate that it was warm early in the week and the artist was able to get the sculpture up and put together, and it looks fabulous. I think I've shared some pictures with you this week as it's come up. So, again, we would invite you both and to both of those events. And again, thanks to Redevelopment Commission for your support of the Public Arts Commission and the donors. Mayor, we do have one video if you want to set it up to finish the evening with. And
Well, I want to, yes, so we are going to show you the video from the production that the Indiana Chamber of Commerce made when they visited Madison a couple of months ago as part of awarding our community the 2024 Community of the Year. And so grateful to all the hard work and people involved in us receiving this recognition, all the work done literally at the street level, the volunteer level. We have over 24 volunteer boards and committees, including you. All of your valuable time and hundreds of others is dedicated to making Madison a better community. So without much ado, in front of 1,000 people, we were able to, this video was presented and we accepted the award on behalf of the city.
With its rich heritage, historic architecture, and beautiful setting along the Ohio River, most Hoosiers are familiar with Madison. But there's much more at play.
Madison really stood out to our selection committee because it truly checked all of the boxes for a city on the rise. It's a place where businesses feel welcomed and have an opportunity to grow and thrive, and individuals really want to settle down and live, work, and play.
Madison is enjoying an ongoing housing and business sector expansion, a revitalized downtown, and a growing list of entertainment and events that keep the city bustling year-round.
We're a very welcoming community, and we've been attracting investment all across the community, whether it be in manufacturing, healthcare, education, small business, industry, and tourism. All of those things contribute to our economy, and that wouldn't be happening if we weren't a community that focuses and invests on having a high quality of life for everyone involved.
As part of that, Madison is also embracing the future. Using cutting-edge artificial intelligence software, city leaders are striving to grow the area in a more strategic way than ever before. Mayor Courtney says the city has been extremely ambitious the last 5 years, and there's more to come.
We're going to continue to focus on investing in infrastructure and housing because of our population growth and placemaking. A lot of that really involves upgrading our parks, which are fantastic for outdoor recreation as well as community health and wellness. We're going to continue to make big investments in Madison so that our future is as bright as this past has been.
The Indiana Chamber is delighted to acknowledge the employers, organizations, and individuals in Madison who are driving progress and positively impacting lives.
Please congratulate the City of Madison, the Indiana Chamber's 2024 Community of the Year.
That was a good video, and I just want to reiterate just the power of investment. And that's what we've been working so hard to do, is to make Madison a place where people want to invest. And when they want to invest, you see the outcomes of our community, just the energy around town and its beautification, its stable and rising asset values. It's a safe community. But it's happening because people are willing to invest here. Our corporations, our hospital, our schools, small businesses, property owners. It's amazing. We've been experiencing a renaissance, and the Main Street, I don't know if you remember or not, but a couple of years ago we received a statewide award from AIM, which is Accelerating Indiana Municipalities, for our placemaking of Main Street in particular. And Main Street is something that will probably take us 10 to 15 years strategically to implement. We've been involved in 4 years of planning, and now in 2025 we're finally getting to the starting line, which is moving some dirt and resurfacing roads and taking care of long neglected problems in that corridor. Anyway, wouldn't happen without you guys. You guys are literally multiplying the impact of local investment with the city leading with this investment. So thank you all for all your support.
Thank you. Congratulations to you and your team. That's a tremendous award, and I mean, it makes Madison look like the jewel it is.
Yeah, thank you. On other updates before we close out, I'll just mention a couple of things. And Tony had already mentioned the ribbon cutting, and then we'll have a groundbreaking soon with Mike on the residents of Sunrise Crossing. We're excited about that. Yeah, a year ago we were out there welcoming, I think it was it Coles? Was it Coles? It was a cold day to welcome Coles. But the other thing that I want to mention too is relative to our transportation network, we had mentioned in our spending plan supporting the new runway at the airport. That's a multi-million dollar investment that our Board of Aviation Commissioners have been working on for years, and I believe it's going to get started in 25 or 26. But beyond that, our other part of our transportation network it also includes the Port Authority and the Madison Railroad. I don't know if you saw in the news recently, but the Port Authority and the Madison Railroad received a close to $6 million grant for another bridge replacement. We're still using bridges from the 19th century. It's the last one in that corridor. Madison Railroad's been, as well as the Madison Municipal Airport, they've been exploding with new businesses locating there because of our great transportation network. And I referred to our great transportation network at our dinner at the Chamber the other day about how you can get to Madison either by river, by rail, by air, by roads, and then all of us are very fond of the fifth rail, or the fifth pillar of Madison's transportation network, and that's golf carts. You can get all around town now on golf carts, so we are multimodal for sure. It's taken a tremendous amount of investment, but everybody who's working together has got their eye toward the future. And that's why we're celebrating the sculpture at the Gateway. All of us from here know what our side of the bridge looked like as recent as 5 or 6 years ago. With the work that was done with Mayor Welch's administration and NDOT to improve the bridge approach, and then our acquisition of all the remaining parcels down there so we could execute a Gateway redevelopment plan, the timing with the READY grants, supporting that, the formation of the Public Arts Commission. I mean, there's a big puzzle if you haven't been paying attention, and I know we have here, but there's a tremendous puzzle called the City of Madison and Jefferson County that we've all actually been putting together for a long period of time, and the pieces are falling into place. So thank you guys for all your support. It's an awesome puzzle, guys and ladies.
Perfect, thank you. Lots of great stuff going. No other order in front of us. Next meeting is maybe December 10th.
December 10th is slated to be our next meeting. We'll keep you posted on that, depending on actions that need to take place. So we'll keep you posted, but currently, yes, December 10th.
Great. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Thank you.
And thank you to all of our guests who are here today.